How's it going, you guys? AZPlayer21 here, back with another WMMA 5 video. We just finished off that last fight night. As you can see here, you got the results from our last fight night, Gall versus Amasov, where Yaroslav Amasov beat Mickey Gall in the main event via knockout in the third round. But I was going to continue playing on and not get to you guys until the next fight night. But the first thing I see here, as you can see, Michael Chandler, victim, he has been popped for TRT, which is illegal as a substance. So Michael Chandler is suspended, and ordinarily that would not be that big of a deal. Michael Chandler, of course, in Bellator in real life, but here in my game save, Michael Chandler is our interim lightweight champion. So this is kind of a big deal. Basically our lightweight champion is suspended for at least a year. Yeah, so 1 full year. Michael Chandler suspended, 36 years of age. That's very bad for him. He's had a great career here in the UFC in this save, losing only to Mark Jakashi. And his last couple of fights have been really good, beating Jim Miller, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje to win the interim crown, and then defending it against Maxim Divnich, but getting popped for this banned substance. And now, well, we're going to come over here to belts. We're going to go over to the UFC lightweight division, and Michael Chandler is no longer going to be the interim champion. So we're going to go ahead and vacate that title. And so Conor McGregor, currently on hiatus. It is not known when he will be returning. And so let's take a look here at the lightweight division and determine just exactly what we want to do. Because, I mean, Michael Chandler's been cleaning it up. I mean, he beat Divnich, he beat Gaethje. So we're going to take a look at the lightweight division. And this is something that I kind of wanted to go through with you guys, too. Because this is probably one of the more interesting things that I like about this game and that I like about MMA, booking in general, is just like when things like this go wrong, it's always interesting to see what exactly happens. So as you can see here, Michael Chandler was our interim champion. He is now suspended, so he is out for a year. He is no longer our champion. Conor McGregor is currently our champion. And so we have a couple of fighters here that I have in mind to book for an interim championship, or if I really want to, I could strip Conor of the championship and just make it for the outright lightweight championship. So let's take a look at Stephen Ray, because Stephen Ray is coming off 2 consecutive wins over very quality opponents, and his last loss was against Michael Chandler. But since Michael Chandler just got popped for PEDs, that loss now looks a little bit better on Stephen Ray's part, and he's number 2 in the world. So I know for a fact that whatever happens next, Stephen Ray is most definitely going to be a part of it. So Stephen Ray is definitely going to be a part of that title match that we're planning out. Chandler cannot be involved. Justin Gaethje currently has a fight scheduled against Damir Ismagulov, last losing to Michael Chandler. He has 3 losses in his last 5 fights, so it would kind of not make sense to book him in a title fight at this point. Khabib is coming off a win over Anthony Pettis. He's coming off 2 straight wins, but he's lost 2 of his last 4. So it's not looking like he really deserves a title fight at this point. As well, as much as I'd love to just give him a title shot because I love Khabib. Adrian Freebush is a generated fighter. He's coming off 3 straight wins, but he has yet to actually debut in the UFC, and I'm not going to debut him for a title. So then we come over here to Super Sage Northcutt, who is coming off of a victory over Tony Ferguson. His last loss was to Ross Pearson, but, I mean, his last loss to Ross Pearson, who wasn't even ranked, and the only guys that he's ever beaten were, just inside the top 15. So Sage Northcutt is not ready for a title shot. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, now what do I do? Because I have Stephen Ray, who I know for a fact is, in my plans. He's going to have that title shot for a fact. Michael Chandler really fucked this up by getting popped for TRT, because now we're kind of in limbo here in the lightweight division, because Justin Gaethje is fighting against Damir Ismagulov, right? And Ismagulov is on quite a nice win streak, I believe. He's got that fight scheduled against Gaethje, and he's on a 5-fight winning streak against some nice opponents, beating some top 10 guys. But I mean, not exactly the resume that you're looking for. So I'm kind of considering just giving the fight to Khabib. He's out for 34 days, but he's a guy who I know does not have a fight scheduled. He's in the top 4, so he's deserving. And I mean, personally, I'm just a big fan of Khabib, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So Stephen Ray versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. So we're going to go to our notebook, as we always do. So interim, and I mean, see, here's the thing. Conor McGregor's not coming back for a long time, and I usually don't like stripping people just because they go on hiatus. But Conor's done this way too many times. So if we go over to lightweight, he's the champion there. At featherweight, he's the champion there too. The last time that he fought, I believe, was at lightweight, where he defended the title. If Conor comes back, he's definitely getting a title shot. But I think the best thing to do here, I mean, Jose Aldo is the interim featherweight champion, and he's defending it against Makashvili soon. So what I think the best thing to do here is to strip Conor of both of these titles. So Jose Aldo is now the undisputed featherweight champion, and we're going to strip Conor of this lightweight title. And so now the lightweight title is vacant. And if we go over to our notebook once again, the lightweight title will be Ray versus Khabib. Of course, Khabib will be fighting against Dustin Poirier on Saturday. What's the date? Saturday, September the 7th, for his lightweight title against Dustin Poirier. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And so now we can go over to here and delete this interim tag on the featherweight title tab, because that is no longer for the interim title. Jose Aldo is the undisputed champion. And yeah, so nice little bit of an update there for you. Michael Chandler getting popped by USADA, I guess we can say, in this game, and he is no longer able to be the interim lightweight champion. So big things popping off here. Ray versus Khabib will be for that lightweight title. You can take a look here at everything else that's been going on. And this isn't going to really have a fight night, I don't think. This is kind of just going to be a low-key kind of just see what I do in this kind of situation. It's going to be a lot of micromanaging, just going through emails and things of that nature, and me kind of just telling you what's going on in my mind when things like this happen. It's going to be maybe not boring, but it's not going to have a fight night, so it's not necessarily going to be anything that a lot of people are going to be interested in. But the first thing that I see here, which is something I'm going to have to get to right now, is Felipe Arantes being injured, and he is no longer able to fight on this fight card. McDonald versus Garbrandt. So now his opponent, Justin Rader, needs another opponent. So McDonald versus Garbrandt. So if we go over here to matchmaking, see, this is going to be hard because this is actually in just about a week's time. And so that was on the main card as well. Is there anyone who's willing to step up? No. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take a fight from maybe like this Gaethje Ismagulov card. So like this Gavin Tucker versus Cole Miller. Can this be moved up to McDonald versus Garbrandt? Move it to the main card. Yep. Alright, so that's going to work. So then now what we're going to do is we're going to move this Justin Rader fight back to the Gaethje Ismagulov card. Give it about 2 weeks. Hopefully that's enough time to be able to find somebody to fight. So now we're going to see if anyone's available. So now we have some people that are available to fight. So we have Alex Perez and Mateusz Matos. Both are coming off a win. Raiders on a losing streak, so I don't really want to give him top 20 guy. So I think I'm going to give it here to Matos. He's on a winning streak. Give him a ranked opponent to go up against. He's going to ask for some money because it's on short notice. We're going to give that to him. And so now we have saved, essentially, that fight. Justin Rader gets a fight. It's just moved back to that Canada card. And we've essentially sent Gavin Tucker and Cole Miller to New Mexico to fight now, despite Gavin Tucker being from Canada, that kind of sucks for him because he's not going to be able to fight in his home country anymore. Nonetheless, we've saved that card, not having to make any serious changes. I like to have 6 fights on the main card of these UFC fight nights, and then I have 5 main card fights on the pay-per-views. Taking a look now at the next couple of fight nights, Claudia Gadelha versus Tina LAHDEMAKI in the strawweight division. Michael McDonald versus Cody Garbrandt. Of course, Michael McDonald, former UFC bantamweight, and he's come up in this save after I signed him back up. Beat Darian Caldwell of Bellator fame before losing to Dominic Cruz in his return fight here to the UFC. Beat Eddie Wineland, Marlon Moraes, Uriah Faber, who I was able to sign back up before losing to Thomas Almeida and then Ricardo Ramos. So now having to face off against Cody Garbrandt, former UFC bantamweight champion, who is coming off 3 straight wins against John Dodson, Rafael Assunção, and Eduardo Dantas. So that's going to be a nice fight to look forward to as we go back to our emails. Remember, we have 80 emails here. Josh Berkman, as we saw in the last video, retired after losing to Jake Ellenberger. Just some stuff about other people joining different MMA gyms. So Court McGee is coming to the end of his UFC contract. So let's see if we want to re-sign him. He's coming off a win over Jiangleng Li. He's lost quite a few fights, but we always need veterans here to give some fights to the younger guys, give them some nice tests. So we'll go ahead and sign Court McGee back up. He'll remain a part of the UFC here. Mickey Gall, still rather young. Well, actually, not really 30 years old, but I mean he's still got a lot of I don't really want to say potential, but I mean he's still a good fighter. So I'll go ahead and sign him up. Not for 6 fights. 3 fights is good enough, and that should be good enough to sign him back up. Arav Guevara signs. Let's see if this guy is going to be sent down. He had only 2-1, so he's going to get sent back down to ROC. Kelvin Gastelum needs to have his contract renewed. Number 10 middleweight in the world, coming off a win over Luke Rockhold. Has had 2 straight victories over Abdul Razak Al Hassan and then Rockhold, as you saw in the last video. Definitely a great fighter. I big plans for him. I'm a big fan of Kelvin myself. So sign him up for 6 more fights. He has a place here. Alima Leigh McFarlane. We saw her lose to Valentina Shevchenko in the last video. So I'm not going to cut her because we could always use more women in the UFC and in the division as a whole. When I signed her, she was on a 3-fight losing streak, and I probably shouldn't have signed her because of that. As you may know, or if you're a big MMA fan like me, Alima Leigh McFarlane is a big part of Bellator. They've been really building her up, trying to make her a big deal. But here in this save, she hasn't been doing all of that great. So I'm not going to cut her, but I will sign her back up and immediately send her down to Invicta, which is my women's feeder league. So I'm going to give her the contract, but when she does actually re-sign, I'm immediately going to send her down to Invicta. So that will take care of that. Court McGee, just stuff about that. Timothy Wolf, this guy will be going back down to ROC. Betch Kohea needs to have her contract renewed. Let's see if we want to do that for her. So Betch Kohea, veteran of the UFC. Again, kind of don't really, not that I can't cut women in the UFC, because I mean if someone's on a 9-fight losing streak or something stupid in that nature, then it doesn't make sense to really keep them. But I mean there's not a lot of women to go around in this save and in MMA in general, so it's kind of hard to justify cutting someone when I can just send them down to Invicta and hope they get a few wins. If they get a couple more wins, bring them back up, have them try it again. Otherwise they end up just retiring, and then there's not much I can do from there. So Lorraine, she's probably going to be sent down. Isada Hachigoro. This guy's kind of a weird story because I signed him and he didn't have a great go initially. Had 3 straight wins. I thought he might have made something of himself. Then lost to Anthony Hernandez. So Hachigoro, still having a rough go of it. Send him back down to ROC. If he can't really pick it up, I might cut him after this last contract. Soshu, it's David Joe. Let's see. Are you going to be sent back down? Yes, you are also being sent down to ROC. Weidman extends his deal. That's great. Zakaria Orndorff is atom weight number 3, atom weight in the world. See, it says atom weights. That's the those are the 105ers for the men's division, but I don't really have a 105 division. I'm trying to get maybe like a 115 division set up for the men, but it's hard to find people even for the flyweight division, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But I have it going on in ROC, so we'll see if that's going to come to pass. This guy just signed up. He's a regen fighter, flyweight division, 30 years old, 0-0. Send him down to ROC, see if he can get some wins under his belt. Ngannou extends his deal. That guy's going down to ROC. So is she. Aaron Porto. I think I was trying to sign him. Yep. Did I already sign? Yep, I'm in negotiations with him already. So I don't really have to worry about that. Ainsley Mayfield. That's not Angela Hill, even though it looks like Angela Hill. She signed up 0-0. See, like when female fighters get regenerated in this game, I kind of try to sign them just immediately, just because, like I said, there's not a lot of female fighters to go around in this game save, and I can show you in a little bit, but there's maybe like 100 fighters per division in the women's side. So like I kind of want to have all of them, if I'm being honest, just because like the end goal is for the UFC to be the end all be all in MMA in this game, which it kind of already is. But I just want to have a tight grip on everybody, really. So I try to sign these female regenerated fighters just the moment they regenerate, just so I have them under my belt and I can see how they do in Invicta. And then if they do well in Invicta, then I know they might have a good chance in the UFC. And I mean, the goal is eventually for this game save to be long term, and that's going to be very important. Being able to have these prospects under my belt the entire time, so that way I know that in the ROC UFC banner they're doing well. So that way I know that I'm getting a good look at them. So she's going down to Invicta. That guy is probably going down. So a lot of really nothing much that I need to look at. John Anik needs to be renewed. I think I already went over that last time. Yep, I'm actually in negotiations with him already. But I think there's a couple more emails that I need to take a look at. Yep, we already saw the Michael Chandler. I failed to sign that guy. So I'm taking a look at some other stuff here. Maxim Divnich is going on hiatus after he loses to Michael Chandler. He was probably pissed that he lost and then had it turn into a no contest. That's not really necessarily on him. He was on a great winning streak too before that fight. And that kind of sucks for him. He's kind of falling out of love with MMA. I don't blame him losing, but then the other guy gets popped for PEDs. That's happened before, and the other guy would certainly be pissed, I'm sure. So I'm looking here to see if there's anything that I absolutely need to do. Todd Monahan has completed his suspension, so that's cool to see. And I think I need to assign him to a weight class because of that. He beat Gokhan Saki, but it was taken away due to a drug test failure. So I'll need to get him back in the mix. Dimas Faria, are you any good? 2-1. I'll give you another couple more fights in ROC. So Dimas. Alright. And that contract is sent out to Dimas. He needs to be sent back down. So let's go ahead and put you on that. And let's see. 8 more emails to go through. Hopefully nothing super important. Casper Maivia. Ooh, that's right. Let's see. Beat Clint Hester last time out. You're on quite a nice winning streak. Oh man, that startled me. Quite a nice winning streak, including beating Clint Hester last time out. I'm not too sure if I want... Ooh, see, because you're 11-1 and you're a regenerated fighter, so you've had a lot of experience, but you're not exactly going up against any tough opposition here. You won you won a championship in AFC. See, I don't really know. Because low-level national, you're already the number 18 middleweight in the UFC. So if you're ranked in the UFC, I guess it makes sense to keep you around. So Casper Maivia, welcome to the UFC. We'll have to find a fight for him at some points, as there is nothing more for me to do as far as these emails go. So let's go quickly to the weight classes. And, oh, actually, no, we're not going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way by going to roster, search, and then current weight class. We're going to go to unassigned. As everything is taken care of, yeah, Stanchu is not in a weight class because she's also on a drug suspension, which is only lasting 13 more days. So I think I'll actually just put her in her weight class, which is straw weight. And can I change it? Yeah, I can change it from here. Alright, so put her in the straw weight division. And Zakaria Orndorff will actually be sent down. I need to go over that entire list, actually. And send everybody down that I need to. Look at all these guys. Look at this. This is my entire roster in the UFC. A lot of these guys need to be sent down to ROC and Invicta. And I need to be careful. And the reason I need to be careful is because there's a bug in this game. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bug because it makes sense, but there's a glitch that happens where if I try to send a male down to Invicta, the game will crash. If I try to send a female down to ROC, the game will crash. So I always need to be careful. Like, I try to get through this as quickly as possible, but I need to be careful because otherwise the game crashes and all of my shit is fucking ruined. So I'm going to save the game real quick, and I'm going to go to my notebook, and I'm going to look over everyone that needs to be sent down. Hopefully a lot of these guys have already been signed, and I think they have. So now we're going to go over to the roster, and I see Jo Ruri. So Jo Ruri, yep, there she is. Female, sent down to Invicta. There she goes. Alright. Next is Hachigoro. Hachigoro, there you are. Male needs to be sent down to ROC. Alright. Next is Roldal. Roldal, there you are. 5-0. I think he was the Rookie of the Year, it looks like. Yes, he was. Rookie of the Year. So, 5-0, Rookie of the Year, sent down to ROC. You know, gets 3 wins. Maybe I'll think about sending him back up, but that's to be seen later, as Powell needs to be sent down now. As, not that Powell. Or is it this Powell? I don't think so. He's ranked in the UFC, so he probably just hasn't been signed yet. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete these names. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Bartolo-Miege. Bartolo-Miege. Nope, not yet. As I'm actually going to move this over here so I can see it a little bit better. Alright, so Ted Height. Send you down to ROC, and this does take a long time. Like I said, not the most exciting stuff, but this is the stuff that I do to make sure that I have a good grasp on the MMA world. ROC sent down for Timothy Wolf. David Joe, 3-3, not the best fighter it would look like as of yet. Lorraine, 3-3, but a featherweight, and featherweights are hard to come by as far as the females go. So she's very useful to me, I should say. Pastora, bantamweight, 6-4, not too bad. All right, Mikhail Ragozin, 2 wins in ROC, another 2 more. I might think about sending him back up, so he'll go back down to ROC. Iasada, we saw that he signed. He's an atom weight. I'm thinking about possibly setting up an Ultimate Fighter tournament to see if I can get the straw weights in the UFC and, you know, set up an actual tournament, not just the Ultimate Fighter, but an actual like tournament to crown the first champion. I think that'd be pretty cool. As go ahead and delete some of these names that I've already taken care of. As actually these guys I failed to sign, so the Powell and Bartolo-Miege or whatever, I just wasn't able to sign them. Esme Salter, straw weights. Oh, no. Uh-oh. As we'll have to go back to Esme. Not the prettiest looking woman, nonetheless. You're going to go back down to Invicta. Alright, Veta. Flyweight, 7-3-1. Not doing terrible in Invicta, but still needing a little bit of seasoning. Alright, Zakaria. Adam Waits needs to be sent down on a 3-fight losing streak, so he needs to really pick it up. ROC for you. Soshu, middleweight 4-2, still needing some work. Down you go. Next is Arav, 2-1, still early in your career, still needing some seasoning. Next is Aaron, not Aaron Pico, our former champion, as that Aaron is actually not ready to be sent down as he hasn't re-signed yet. So we go back down here. Still a lot of names on the list. Rufus. No Rufus yet. Alright. What about Janelle? No Janelle yet. What about Rashard? Not Rashad. Rashard. There you are. Rashard Ross. The flyweight we took a look at earlier. He'll be sent back down. Chilemba. It's a cool sounding name. Chilemba. No Chilemba? Alright, so Chilemba has yet to sign. What about Jarek? No Jarek either. Capoto? No Capoto. What about Autry? It doesn't look like these guys have signed yet. So we'll go ahead and stop there because these guys are probably just still negotiating with me and such. I know Aaron Porto for a fact is, and some of these guys are literally just put on this list. So that's going to do it for that. So now that we are done looking at our emails and we're done going through that, it's Sunday of week 1, and I'm not sure if I've done all the matchmaking for the coming months. I like to have my fight nights booked 3 months in advance. So let's see if I've done just that. So the UFC Network, that card will be on pay-per-view. UFC 272, Wu versus Berto. The fight card has 3 championship fights on it, all women's championship fights. And it's going to be main evented by Yanan Wu, taking on Rebelina Berto for the women's featherweight championship. Women's strawweight championship will be between Janessa Mirandin and Livia Renata Sosa. And the flyweight championship will be on the line as well, as Montana De La Rosa faces off against Miskaela Batautis. Batautis is actually a regenerated fighter, 10-1, 3-0 in the UFC. Made quite a name for himself. Her last win over Mackenzie Dern. She's actually in the midst of coming back after recently giving birth. Congratulations to her. So Batautis about to get back into it as she fights for the championship in UFC 272. That'll be live from Washington. Also on the card, John Jones versus Eric Anders. And why is John Jones fighting your boy Eric Anders? That's because John Jones is coming off of a loss. Yeah, so John Jones, in his comeback fight here after he was suspended for 2 years, fought against Ion Cutelaba and got knocked out in the first round. I don't know why. So John Jones is now the number 3 light heavyweight in the world. Will not be fighting for a title anytime soon, as the last fight on this pay-per-view card is Marif Parayev taking on Mark Jakashi. Alright, take a look at the prelims for that one. I like to have all of it scheduled, the prelims, 10 prelims on the card. As you can see, UFC Fight Night, Mayweather versus Held. That's right, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is now a UFC fighter. I've 45 years of age, Floyd Money Mayweather. He's fought 2 really good fighters, Edson Barbosa and Nate Diaz, and he beat them both. TKO in the first one by Edson Barbosa, and he knocked out Nate Diaz. So congratulations to Floyd Money. So he'll go up against Marcin Held, who's actually a very good prospect in this game. So it's kind of a real risk to put him up against a guy like him because he's looking pretty good on a 3-fight winning streak. So we'll see what he can do. That card's going to be in Arizona. Hector Lombard taking on Muslim Kisriev. Lando Venata taking on Michael Johnson. UFC 273, Costa versus Adesanya, a fight that will probably happen at some point. And look at that card. 5 championship fights scheduled for that pay-per-view in Mexico. Kind of just out of circumstance. So the first fight of the pay-per-view card is April Asenio taking on Macy Culberson. That's for the Atomweight Championship. And so Jose Aldo was initially the interim featherweight champion, but he is now the just featherweight champion after I stripped Connor. So Levon Makashvili, the Hornets, will now be fighting for the undisputed championship. And look at the run he's been on. After losing to Zabit, Jeremy Kennedy, beating Uriah Faber, beating Yair Rodriguez, beating Pitbull Freire, and beating Henan Barao. So Makashvili with a chance to take on Jose Aldo for the featherweight title. After Jose, of course, loses to Conor McGregor, he beat Christian Lee, and that beat Aaron Pico for the interim championship. But, I mean, other than Conor, and, I mean, Edson Barbosa earlier on, Jose Aldo's been on a tear. So the Brazilian legend, of course, getting it done. Third fight on the card, Thomas Almeida defending his bantamweight championship against Ricardo Ramos. The bookies have it really close. Thomas Almeida, slight favorite in that one. But number 1 versus number 3, Ricardo Ramos has been on fire as of late after losing to Manny Vasquez, a 3-fight winning streak including Marcus Brimage, Michael McDonald, and Movsar Evloev. Movsar Evloev was the interim bantamweight champion for a short period of time. So Ricardo Ramos definitely deserving of this as he takes on Almeida, who is going for his 4th defense. So after beating Dillashaw for the title back in 2020, he's held it for the better part of about 2 years, defending Michael McDonald, defending it against Evloev, and then defending it against Sean O'Malley. And so that will go on in the bantamweight division. And then the co-main event is Anthony Rumble Johnson defending his light heavyweight championship against Ion Cutelaba. Cutelaba, of course, the guy that I just mentioned, beating John Jones, but he's been on a very good winning streak. Beat Jordan Johnson his last time out. Vidal Gayet, Ilir Latifi, Vinny Malgaias, Corey Anderson, Jordan Johnson, Matt Hamill. He's on a fucking tear. Like a 10-fight winning streak. And this guy isn't doing that well in real life, but he's killing it in this game. Number 13 pound for pound fighter in the world. The guy out of Moldova with a chance to get the light heavyweight crown away from Anthony Rumble Johnson, who's actually going to be coming back to the UFC in 2020 in the heavyweight division more than likely. And the main event, one of my favorite fighters right now, Israel Adesanya, with his chance at the middleweight crown after going on a tear. His only loss being to Oscar Piachota, a guy who fought for the championship as well. And he's facing off against Paulo Costa, recently beating Yoel Romero in real life. Borrachinha has got the middleweight title rather quickly and has just held on to it, has not let it go at all. Beat Chris Weidman for the title, defended against Kelvin Gastelum, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Piachota as mentioned, and Bradley Scott. He's just a monster. Costa's just incredibly great, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Going on, Barao versus Santiago, Ed Ruth versus Tom Breeze, and I got a couple fights to actually schedule here. See those two be announced there. That means that they need opponents. So Philip DeFries needs an opponent. Alistair Overeem needs an opponent, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I've booked up to 3 months, but I haven't exactly booked everybody up. So I'm going to check to see if any one of these fight cards needs opponents, and then I'll go ahead and move forward, as it's looking like everyone here has opponents. So I'm going to go back down here, and is it 6, 7? That one has 10. That one has 10. That one has 10. So I'm curious if I should put it at 10 as well. Or I think I'll leave it at 7. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at 7 as far as the amount of prelims goes, because it gets hard to find fighters to go on fight cards when you do 10 prelims for every card. You know, I want to make sure that everyone gets at least 2 fights a year, but I don't want to have nobody's fighting on the main cards of fight nights, so it's hard to balance it sometimes. That's why I want to have as many guys as popular as possible, but it makes no sense to have nobody's fighting on pay-per-view, to have nobody's fighting on the main card, so you got to space it out. So 7 prelims is good enough. So everyone has an opponent for this one, Anastasia Yankova. Now, if we take a look at her, the number 3 flyweight in the world, 8-3 in the UFC, coming off a win over Molly McCann. I think I had someone kind of in line for her. So let me see who's available in the flyweight division. Was it Botelho? I don't think it was. Let's take a look at the rankings. Was it Mackenzie Dern? I think it might have been Mackenzie Dern. It was. Yes, it is. Definitely Mackenzie Dern, because I think the winner of this fight is going to fight for the title. The number 3 versus number 4, it only makes sense. She's coming off a win over Letourneau. Her last loss was to Batautis. So Mackenzie Dern will be fighting against Anastasia Yankova, and the winner of that 3 versus 4 matchup will be fighting the winner of the Montana De La Rosa and Batautis fights. What's Jillian Robertson up to? She's fighting against Bruna Ellen. Bruna Ellen. I wonder if that one... See, let's see here. Yes, okay, so the winner of Robertson and Ellen will be fighting for the title next. But that is definitely the fight that I wanted to make. Unless... what is Botelho... What has she been doing? She's on a 3-fight winning streak against Letourneau, Calderwood, and Lipsky, who has fought for the title. It's curious to see, because 3 versus 4 looks good, but Dern isn't quite yet deserving of a title shot. And who did Botelho beat last? Did she beat someone who's very... Number 14 she last beat, so she should be getting someone in the top 10. But she would probably be getting someone like a Molly McCann next. But when is Molly McCann coming back? It says about a month or so. So it's still a chance for Botelho to get a top 10 opponent. So I think I am going to do that Dern fight, but I'd still have to wait a couple days to actually book that. And so no one else here needs a fight. Yankova will be fighting against Dern. Philip DeFries needs an opponent. No one else does on this card. I think I had someone in mind for him as well. And so I doubt it was any one of these guys. Let's take a look at the rankings and see what I had planned for him. Of course, Magallanes will be fighting Ben Rothwell for the title. And I can schedule that in 1 day for him. Philip DeFries, who will be fighting pretty soon in real life, I think. His last fight was against number 23, and he won, so he doesn't necessarily need anyone super important. Was it Ngannou? Velasquez? I think he's on a hiatus or injured or something. 3 months he's away from coming back. Sosnovsky, maybe? He's on hiatus, which sucks, because I think I wanted him to fight for the title. JDS. He's gone for 4 months. Was it Ngannou? Ngannou's coming back in 24 days, so I think I'm going to do that fight. Has Philip fought Francis Ngannou yet? He has not, so I think that's the fight that I'm going to make there, but I still can't schedule it for another 20 days or so. Alexander Volkov is gone for 15 days, and he just lost. Curtis Blades, out for 7 months. Fuck. How did you injure yourself like that? 7 months, but what is the injury? That's what I want to know. Major arm injury. That sucks. Curtis Blades is a big prospect in real life in the UFC. I remember him just fucking destroying Alistair Overeem, who's number 3 in the world right now, but just watching him destroy Alistair Overeem on that UFC card where CM Punk fought against was it Mike Jackson, just destroying him in the prelims. It was ridiculous. Just like massive elbows to Alistair Overeem. So Ngannou's going to be the guy who faces off against DeFries, but I can't schedule that yet. And there's anyone on the prelims that needs a fight? No. No one here needs a fight. Everyone there's good. And then Ben Rothwell will be fighting against Magallanes. Who is Overeem supposed to be fighting? That's what I want to know. Because it's in the heavyweight division. That's a very top-heavy division. And who exactly is he supposed to be fighting? Could it be Blades or Volkov, or is it Ngannou that I was supposed to put him up against? Because he's high-level national, and I don't think Overeem will fight anyone who's not as popular as him. So it would have to be Ngannou, because Blades and Volkov aren't that popular yet. Huh. Well, that sucks. So I think Overeem's going to have to fight Ngannou, and DeFries is going to have to fight someone like Volkov or Blades, which kind of sucks just because like he's a little bit more deserving, or Francis Ngannou isn't necessarily deserving to fight Overeem just yet. But I think that's the way it's going to have to work, just because Overeem kind of refuses to fight anyone that's not as popular as him. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. He's number 3 in the world. What's he been up to? Last fought against Volkov and Stipe, and he beat them both. Let's see. So 41 years old. So Ngannou's gonna have to fight against Overeem, and DeFries is gonna have to face off against probably Volkov, because Volkov comes back in 15 days, and he's the only, because Blades is out for 7 months, so he can't even fight. So that's kind of a step down for DeFries, having to face against number 11. Volkov lost to Overeem last, and now he's getting a chance at number 7. Doesn't make much sense, but it's gonna have to do. So that's the way it's gonna roll there. The rest of that is good. Let's see if we can find some people for these guys to fight. Marina Morosh in the strawweight division, number 11. As Ainsley, oh, why are you still there? Ainsley needs to be sent down immediately. Otherwise, I'm going to end up booking her by accident. So Ainsley, you can be sent down to Invicta. All right, that's taken care of. So now let's go back over here. Go down to the prelims. And Marina, did I have someone in mind for you? I doubt it was Jamie Moyle. So Marina Morosh, number 11. What have you been up to? Last win against Courtney Casey, number 10. And then she lost to number 19 and number 8. So around someone in the top 15 is about right for Morosh. Maybe Nadia Kassem. Is she out for a while? She's out for a month. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who's sucked in this game, sadly. She's kind of not had the best go of it in real life as well. She's out for 4 months, though, so I can't book her. Paige Van Zant. She lost to Paige Van Zant already, and she deserves someone in the top 5. So, apart from that, it's just Natalia Silva coming off a win. She can be booked in a day, so that's probably looking like the fight to make there. And Zhang Jingnan, who is on a drug suspension. Cool. So it's looking like Natalia Silva, but I can't make that till tomorrow in game, so that's going to be the fight that I make there. Next up, we have in the featherweight division Steven Peterson. Peterson, number 25, so ideally someone in the top 25. Robin, this would look nice, and it's even as well. Number 24 versus number 25, Korean Zombie, Chang Sun Jung. Actually, I think that's, yeah, he's Korean Zombie, correct? Yeah, okay. He's had a rough go of it recently. Look at all those consecutive losses. Last one against Kyung Ho Kang, though. So Korean Zombie getting back into it. Ricardo Lamas, Darren Elkins, Goiti Yamauchi. The only one that really makes sense is either Korean Zombie or Robin van Roosmalen. So I think I'm actually, just because of name value alone, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Robin van Roosmalen. He lost to Chad Mendes in his UFC debut, so a nice chance to get back on track, and a nice chance to show off these two young guns here. Adrian Freebush, the lightweight. I need to find someone for him to fight. And I don't think it's going to be Super Sage Northcutt. I want to give him like an easier test. Not Stephen Ray, who's fighting for the title. Drakkar Klose winning streak. That'd be a nice little test for him, really. Yeah, it's looking like Drakkar Klose would actually be the odds-on favorite, despite him being number 5 in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If Drakkar Klose wins this, he'll be ranked for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now it's just a matter of Marina Morosh and the rest of these guys getting booked. So that just about does it for what I had planned to do on this day. So now it's just a matter of me, simulating up to the end of the week because I'm just about done. So Sunday week 1. So now we're going to go ahead and simulate to Saturday of week 2, and I'll take care of any emails that come up through that, and we'll actually go ahead and simulate up to the fight night and go through the fight night. So this is going to be a very, very long video. I'd imagine some of you guys will like this. Some of you guys won't. But just to give you a little idea of what it's like to go through actually playing the game. It's a very meticulous game to play, but it's kind of why I like it, just because it's very business oriented, little micromanagement things, taking care of the emails, signing people, sending people down, that kind of thing. So we're going to go ahead and simulate down, and while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go over this week's UFC Fight Night card, and I'm going to give you kind of my little opinion on it. It's kind of a lower key UFC Fight Night card just because it's in China. So a lot of the fights that are going to be going on are going to be like with Chinese fighters that are like local, because people from China want to see like their own fighters going on it. So on the prelims, in the bantamweight women's division, Carol Rosa versus Lara Procopio. And I'm going to be 100% real with you guys. Like, I'm a pretty good MMA fan. I've never heard of any of these two fighters, but initially what I'm seeing is Lara Procopio is undefeated, but Carol Rosa has more experience than her with 14 fights under her belt. So that'll be an interesting fight. Then the one that catches my eye, simply because I've seen him fight live, is Damir Ismagulov. In this game save, and I know that has nothing to do with real life at all, but obviously someone had to scout him and see that he had a lot of potential, because Damir Ismagulov in this game has been absolutely killing it. I think he's a lightweight in this game save. I think he's a lightweight in real life. He's 18-2 in real life, and in this game save he's been doing absolutely great. He's going up against Thiago Moises, who's 12-3. So that's going to be a fun fight to watch. I'm going to be heavily rooting and probably betting on Ismagulov. In the light heavyweight division, Ja Dan-un, who is a Korean fighter, versus Kadis Ibragimov, who is undefeated at 8-0. Again, fighters that I don't really know much about, but we have an undefeated guy making his UFC debut. A guy that I do know a little bit about, a bantamweight who's kind of a heavy hitter, Andre Saukampeth. He's kind of had a rough go of it, but he's an exciting fighter to watch, so I'm always down to watch him fight. Keenan Song versus Derek Krantz. That's going to be a pretty cool one. Krantz, of course, getting his contract via the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. Yanan Wu, who is both the UFC featherweight and bantamweight champion in this game save as far as the women's are concerned, taking on Mizuki Inoue in the women's flyweight division. I'll be pulling for Wu just based off the fact that she's involved in my game save. In the featherweight division, you got Movsar Evloev, who, of course, has been interim champion in this game save. So, again, just people in real life that are fighting that I've had in my game save, and that's going to be a very recurring factor in a lot of this stuff. Just because, I'm a big fan, and I like a lot of these guys, so, being able to see them and be like, oh, they've been a champion in my game save, or, oh, they've really sucked in my game save. It's very interesting to see, and it's kind of how I've become a fan of just any sport really in general, is playing the video games and just seeing them, how they perform in real life versus how they performed in my game, and just kind of going off of that and becoming fans of them just based off of video games. And it's kind of stupid, but it's how people are able to relate to others, and it's how people are able to become fans of athletes in real life just because they're able to portray them in the video games and whatnot. So that's kind of cool to see. Mark De La Rosa taking on Kai Kara France in the flyweight division. That's probably going to be taken by Kai Kara France. He's a really good prospect in the UFC. The co-main event is the Leech Li Jing Lian, the eye poke master, taking on Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos, who is coming off a big knockout. I can't remember who he fought last. I know I lost a bet against him. EZDS. I'm going to look him up right now because I know I lost a bet against him. Let's see. EZDS. UFC. Going to his mixed martial art. That's right, Curtis Millender. It's because I was a big fan of Curtis Millender, because Curtis Millender is from my hometown of Anaheim, California. So I was really pulling for him. He didn't actually knock him out. He submitted him via rear naked choke in the first round. And I remember being low-key hurt because I've always been a big fan of Curtis Millender, and so seeing him lose wasn't that great. And I also bet on him, so obviously I was gonna be pissed. Um, but yeah, EZDS is a killer, man, and he's gonna take that one. I can almost guarantee you that, and I will not be the dumb one in this case, and I will bet on him. And he's like a minus 800 favorite, so I probably actually shouldn't, just because it's kind of a unnecessary risk to do it at that point. But he'll be taking that co-main event against Jing Liang, and then the main event, another fighter that I've actually seen live and in person, Weili Zhang, will be fighting Jessica Andrade for the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship. Of course, this is in China, so very good opportunity for UFC to showcase their stuff in front of a Chinese audience and give them a reason to cheer for Weili. Weili, very, I don't want to say untested, but I mean, she's only had a couple of fights in the UFC. Her last fight against Tisha Torres, who's like a veteran, but not like anything super special. Also has wins over Jessica Aguilar and Danielle Taylor. And two of those three have been submissions, and Jessica Aguilar got submitted in the first round. But like I said, three fights, and I mean, she's won all three of them. But like I said, hasn't really been tested, and hasn't really shown anything super incredible. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of it. Jessica Andrade recently just beat Rose Namajunas. I mean, she's a fucking monster, Jessica Andrade. So we kind of know what we're getting with her. But the thing is, we don't know because we haven't really seen anything out of Weili Zhang yet. So, like, what are we really supposed to make out of all of this is kind of like what I'm thinking. I mean, with Jessica Andrade, she just beat Rose Namajunas for the title. She beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She's beat Tisha Torres. She beat Claudia Gadela. She lost to Joanna, of course. She beat Angela Hill. She's beaten Joanne Calderwood, Jessica Penn. She lost to Raquel Pennington, beat Sarah Morris. Just a lot of experience under her belt, Jessica Andrade. So, I mean, we don't know much about Weili Zhang. So it's going to be interesting just because we don't know a lot about her. And it's in her hometown, so she's going to have the crowd on her side. So it's going to be interesting. I just don't know what to make of it. But I still think Jessica Andrade is going to come out on top. I think just the experience alone, especially in the UFC, on the big stage, is going to be too much for Weili. But 19-1, she's obviously got a lot of fights under her belt, so she's got to have experience of her own. But I still think that Andrade will take it and defend her title. But yeah, so that's Fight Night 157 in China on ESPN Plus. That'll be interesting to see. But the main card that I'm really looking forward to happens next week, and that's my boy Khabib as he takes on Dustin Poirier, trying to defend his lightweight title. That's UFC 242. Also on the card, Edson Barbosa and Paul Felder. Islam Makhachev against Davi Ramos. Curtis Blades, as we mentioned earlier on, taking on Shamil Abdurakhimov. And Mirbek Taisumov taking on Carlos Diego Ferreira. On the prelims for that one, Joanne Calderwood taking on Andrea KGB Lee. Liana Jojua taking on Sarah Morris. Otman Izatar taking on Timu Pakalin. Also on the prelims, Bilal Muhammad taking on the Japanese knockout artist Takashi Sato at 15-2. Nordine Taleb taking on Muslim Salikov. And Omari Akhmedov taking on Zach Cummings. So I'm 100% all in on Khabib for that fight. Dustin Poirier doing a good job beating Max Holloway for the interim title. I just think Khabib is just too good. And I'm a big fan of Dustin's as well. I just don't think he'll be able to handle the pressure, the constant grappling, the smashing, if you will, of Khabib, the constant grappling pressure. Just he'll be able to ragdoll him around. And I mean, I just don't think it's going to be as close a fight as people think. I don't think Khabib will finish him. He'll kind of just like take him down, control him for the majority of the, kind of like the Yaquinta fight was. He doesn't necessarily have a problem with Poirier, you know what I mean? So he's not looking to like destroy him or anything, not trying to change his face like he was against Conor McGregor, but I just think it's going to be the same as like the Yaquinta fight. He's going to be too good. He's going to have control of him for the entire fight. Poirier probably, I mean, you want to give him a fighter's chance. You know, he has good jiu-jitsu. He has good striking, but I just don't know if he's going to be good enough for Khabib. But, I mean, people have been wrong before, so it will be an interesting fight to see as we are into Thursday now, closer and closer to Saturday, if there was anything important, it would have already stopped simulating. So no super important emails as of yet. So it looks like it's going to simulate all the way on to Saturday, as it's going through all the hirings and things of that nature. Of course, as it gets deeper and deeper into the save, it's going to be longer, all the load times, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is. It's got a lot of information to process and things like that. And I know someone in the comments recently told me that there will never be a WMMA 6, which is kind of sad to hear. I'm a big fan of the Grey Dog software games, and I think a WMMA 6 would be dope. But I mean, as far as this game is concerned, what really else can you do? And I think that's kind of the thought process with choosing not to do another game. It's kind of just like, what more can you really do as far as the game engine and everything? It's all great, you know what I mean? So apart from like booking venues and things like that, the little meticulous things that I was mentioning in the other video, I don't really think there's much you can do. You know what I mean? Like maybe doing like promos and things of that nature, press conferences, things like that. But like, it's kind of stuff that's like not super important. Like the main reason we do this is to book the fights, see the fights happen, and deal with the aftermaths. Like that's what we want. We want to see the rankings. We want to do the managing stuff. So everything else is kind of secondary, really, and that's kind of why I think there won't be a WMMA 6. They are, however, going to make a TEW 2020, and I'm very interested to see that because I'm a big wrestling fan myself. I haven't been able to be watching a lot recently, but I know TEW 2020 is coming out soon, so if that's something you're interested in and being a professional wrestling booker, then look into that as well. As I'm seeing all the hirings and decisions being processed, as we are here on Saturday. It is fight night, you guys. GADELHA versus LAHDEMAKI. And so you can see here all the weigh-ins that are happening, a lot of things going on Saturday. I'm looking to see anything that catches my eye, and I see this guy from 1FC, 19-6. Number 23 flyweight in the world. So now this is where I'm rubbing my hands together like I'm Birdman, because I'm looking at him. I'm seeing a top-ranked flyweight, and I want this guy from 1FC. I'm gonna try to slide in his DMs, if you will, and get him. So, hey, yeah, come here for 5 fights, and I mean, I have $13,000 to send your way. Yeah, come fight for the UFC, and he's saying he'll consider it. Hopefully, he does. So let's see if we can take away this flyweight contender, Gianni Suba. Let's see another guy from 1FC, Evgeny Gambardiev. See, all these guys are really good. Number 18 light heavyweight in the world. See, once again, Birdman time, rubbing my hands together. Can I sign this guy? Is he on hiatus or anything like that? He's recuperating. He's coming off a win. So yeah, let me slide in his DMs too. Oh, 5 fights. Yeah. Oh, you want $11,509 per fight? Yeah, let's go. Here, I'll give you that extra $9. Sure. All right. Cool. So Evgeny, he's gonna be in the van too. This guy, 16-7. If he's coming off a win, maybe. He's coming off a loss. He lost to the Evgeny guy, so nah. Josh Neer retired. Sad. Let's see. 7-5, no. 5-3, no. 13-6, no. Let's see. 3-3, no. Let's see. Ooh, 7-1 though. See, a Birdman time. Rubbing my hands. Guy that I can sign for ROC, Dean Hawkins. 7-1. Probably a regen fighter. No, he's actually not. But I would probably still send him down to ROC. Guy to England. Give you 4 fights. Just offer you that. And just because I'm the UFC, he'll probably accept it. But because I'm not really gonna keep him in the UFC, I'm gonna put him on the send down list, so we'll put Dean there, and if he signs, I'll send him back down. So let's see, anybody else to take a look at here? Guy got cut, 0-3. That's probably why he got cut, buddy. 3 straight losses. Everyone else, when you get down to these like last couple emails or the little news notes, there's not really much to go over. If anything, just prospects. So let's take a look and see what we got going on here. We'll send down the people that we need to send down, and then we'll go into fight night. So people have re-signed. That's great. Jonathan Mounier has been approached. Larissa Pacheco needs to be re-signed. Let's see if I actually want to re-sign her, as actually I do. So let's go ahead and get her back in. 4 fights. Nobody's offered her anything, but get her back in anyways. Did I send that in? Yes, I did. All right. Rasul Mirzaev. Ooh, you have been doing terribly, sir. Yes, I will not be re-signing you. 1-6 in the UFC. 3-fight losing streak. At this point, 36 years old, you're not even worth. You have a fight scheduled. You can have that fight, but you're done after that. Have fun. Alima Lame needs to be sent down. Mickey Gall signs. Demas needs to be sent down. Jonathan Mounier needs to be re-signed. Do I want to re-sign him? He's got a fight against We just mentioned him, and he has a fight against EZDS. Last coming off a win against Musok. No, I can't hit him from there. That sucks. Okay, but he needs to be re-signed, so I'll go ahead and do that as well. Give him another 3 fights or so. Yeah, 3 fights for Jonathan Mounier. Very good. All right. Let's see. Todd Monahan leaves as he signed with Lab. Good for you. You were just popped for PEDs. That's fine by me. Timey. A lot of guys that need to be sent down. A lot of guys that need to be sent down. Sent down. Sent down. Oh, what? Casper Maivia has left your roster? Okay, so in the last video I mentioned little micromanaging errors that I've made in the past. This is definitely one of them. The number 18 middleweight in the UFC has now been taken away from me and signed to M1. 29 years of age, a nice prospect, a regen fighter. I mean, that sucks. Huge mistake on my part. We'll say that's a big no-no on me. Everyone else has been re-signing. Mickey Gall. Let me check to see, because I'd like to keep Mickey Gall. He's already re-signed, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's all just everyone offering people stuff. So that's basically it. I just need to go ahead and send down all those people that I re-signed. I signed a couple more, or not signed, but I offered a couple more people contracts. So let's go ahead and get these other prospects sent back down. Alright, so let's see here. So we got Aaron Porto, 1-2. Let's send you down to ROC. You're sent down. Rufus, brand new guy, bantamweight, 0-0. Get some work in. Alright, Chanil, 0-0. Get some work in ROC, heavyweight, just 24 years old. Alright, Chilemba, 22, featherweights. Looking pretty good as well, ROC. Alright, Jarek, middleweight, 0-0. Get your work in ROC, become a star. Alright, so let's see, K-Poto. Weird ass name, but sure, bantamweight out of Zimbabwe. Get some work in. Alright, next we have Autry McLean. White guy out of Uganda. Makes sense. Go to ROC. Next we got Varpu, strawweight out of Poland. Sending you to Invicta. Get some work in. Alright, next is Latea. She looks kind of scary. Flyweight out of Egypt. Go to Invicta. Get some work in, girl. Next is Kanene. Where's she at? Kanine out of Ghana. Flyweight. Go to Invicta. Get some work in. See you in a couple years. Ainsley. I already signed up. Desiree. Where are you at, Desiree? Come on. Desiree. There you go. Desiree Moss out of Nigeria. Invicta. Have a good time. Alright, it's Timey. This is the girl that we saw in the last video. That when I was looking through the big roster thing and my computer nearly froze. We're sending her down to Invicta as well. Timey Gustafson, maybe a little sister of Alexander Gustafson. Alright, now Lee Malay. She's going to go down to Invicta as well because she's been sucking in the UFC, so she's going to go down as well. And then we have Demas, the 2-1 welterweights, who will go back down to ROC as he's already has a contract with ROC. I don't understand how that is, and that's because he has a fight scheduled. So everyone else is signed up except for Demas and Dean. And it looks like we are just about ready for Fight Night. So before we get going there, let's go ahead and show you the rest of the stuff that's going on tonight. Bellator 276 Welterweight Championship, Matt Dwyer versus Andre Fiallo. You can see the rest of the card there. A lot of them is going to be just like regenerated fighters, just because I've kind of signed like all the important people out of Bellator, and you'll see that with the upcoming fight nights. So of course our fight night, Invicta, Darabi versus Gal for the Atomweight Championship. 7-3 versus 12-3. The winner of this fight will more than likely be taking on the winner of the Osenio versus Culberson fight. You can see the rest of the fights there. Again, a lot of these girls are going to be regenerated fighters that are just looking to get fights under their belt. And in the ROC main event, it's Noah Masongo taking on Nashan Burrell. And look at all that. Look at all those prelims, trying to get all the experience for all those young guns. But it's all about our fight night tonight. Claudia Gadelha versus Tina LAHDEMAKI. It's fight night. It's been a long video. I'm glad you guys joined me for it. You've been able to see how I do my things here, and we are finally good to go. So in Quebec, Canada, we are Claudia Gadelha in the main event taking on Tina LAHDEMAKI. You can take a look at everything there as we continue on to our first prelim. And it's between King Mo, like I mentioned earlier on, getting everyone out of Bellator. He's had a terrible go in this game, though. That's why he's in the prelims, as he takes on Michael Oleksichuk. 24-12-1, the 41-year-old King Mo. Last time out on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Jamie Abdallah, Abdul Karim Edilov, and Mauricio Shogun Hua. And Michael Oleksichuk, 20-4, 8-2 in the UFC on a 2-fight winning streak. I'd take him over King Mo in this one, despite him being the underdog, and he does win via TKO in the first round. Let's see if King Mo retires. He does not. Zach Atau taking on Shinsho Anzai. Looks to be a close one. I'm going to take... Ooh, this is between a battle of upper 30-year-olds. I'm going to go ahead and take Atau just because I think his wrestling will take over. As in fact, as Anzai via knockout in the first round. So that's going to be very big for him. See if he can get some more wins under his belt. And so the former flyweight championship contender Uncle Creepy Ian McCall, recently fighting in Ryzen, taking on Ashkan Mkhitaryan. I'm going to take Mkhitaryan in this one, as actually Ian McCall wins, improving to 16-12-1. Alright, so Uncle Creepy getting the win there. So now Rin Nakai will take on Diana Belbita in the UFC flyweight division. Rin Nakai 21-7-1. It was thought that she was going to be a big prospect, but she's had a bad time. Has lost 5 out of her last 6, and so she might be in danger of being sent down to Invicta here if Belbita dispatches her, which she does in the first round via knockout. So say goodbye to Rin Nakai. She's going down to Invicta, as Belbita with another victory, as she's number 21 ranked right now. She might go into the top 20 after that, I'd guess. Alright, so Belbita's happy to get that win. Amanda Bobby Cooper taking on Kalindra Faria. The last I remember of Bobby Cooper was when she fought against Mackenzie Dern. Bobby Cooper 7-8. Don't know how she's still in my company. I really don't like having fighters that have losing records, or like 7-7 even. Taking on Kalindra Faria, who's not having the greatest of times herself. And ABC wins. So she's going to be 8-8. She's going to be having a win under her belt, so I think I might keep her around just because I don't think it's a good look to send people down after a win. So she might stay in. I might send Faria down. Nonetheless, we'll see what happens with that. Justine Kish taking on Mizuki Inoue. Mizuki Inoue actually fights in Ryzen if you're interested in that. But I think Kish, heavy favorite. I think she'll take it. As you know, big underdog. She was going to win despite having no fight team. She wins in the third round via TKO. Alright, so Inoue gets it done there. Marvin Vettori taking on Ryan James. Remember, Marvin Vettori fought against Israel Adesanya last year at the Gila River Arena, and then after that he got popped for PEDs. All right, so Vettori, heavy favorite in this one. Let's see what he's been up to in this game save. I know he fought CM Punk. Yeah, he has a win over him there. Last loss to Kisriev, beat Thiago Santos and Jake Ellenberger. Thiago Santos isn't that great in this game, so if you see him having a lot of losses, don't think too much of it. As we're going to skip forward, and Ryan James, another big upset here, as Ryan James takes it via TKO in round number 3. So the 41-year-old beating the young gun here, as he is glad that he was able to overcome. So now we move up to the heavyweights. Marcos Rogerio de Lima taking on Valentin Moldavsky. Very even fight here. I'm going to take the younger guy, Moldavsky, as he actually does win via unanimous decision. So not ranked, because he was coming off 2 straight losses, but a good win here for the 30-year-old from Russia. As we move on, Magomed Bibulatov taking on Elnar Ibragimov, as this is now the main card. Big favorite is Bibulatov, the number 12 flyweight in the UFC, on a 4-fight winning streak, and 2-0 in the UFC in this time around, taking on Ibragimov. I suck with names sometimes, as he's coming off a loss to Zedong Ju. I'm going to take Bibulatov in this one, as he wins via unanimous decision. Gives a nice little interview. So now the next card is going to be Bruno Acevedo taking on Tagir Ulanbekov in the flyweight division as well. Another really close fight. Let's see what Acevedo has been up to. Last win over Carlos John Thomas, lost to Jose Torres. Very back and forth his career. Ulanbekov, number 9 in the flyweight division, 7-1 in the UFC, has beat Henry Cejudo, Doskelchuk, and Brandon Moreno. So I'm going to take Ulanbekov, actually, as he loses via unanimous decision in what was apparently a very good fight. So very nice to see there. He said it was one of the best fights of his career, and he can't wait to watch it over. Acevedo getting the win there. As we move on to the next match, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Smooth Ben Henderson, just because he's from Arizona, where I live in. So Henderson not having the greatest of times, you can see. I've yet to cut him simply because of my fandom for him. But as you can see, they're not having a great go of it. Fighting against Jordan Main, who will more than likely be defeating him. Jordan Main coming off 2 straight wins over Davi Ramos and Matt Riddle. So I'd imagine Main will win this one, as he does via knockout in round 2. And he wants CR Bahadurzada next. That's interesting because he's a hard hitter. And up next is going to be Kazumasa Majima taking on Damian Webster Stasiak. Stasiak 6-6 in the UFC, coming off 2 straight wins. And Majima, 20-3 in his career, is coming off 4 straight wins. So I'd imagine Majima will want to look to prove something here, as he does in fact win in round number 2 via leg lock. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's ranked, because that's now 5 straight wins for Majima. He enjoyed the fight. And so now we're into the co-main event. Nico Hybrid Price taking on Maxim Butorin. Nico Price has fought for the title in this game save. That was his last fight out against Vicente Luque. He beat GSP, Tyron Woodley, Ben Henderson, and Rick Story. He's on quite a winning streak, and fought for the title and lost. So sad to see there, but he's had quite a good go of it, facing off against Maxim Butorin, who's coming off a win over Matt Brown and a loss to Mike Platinum Perry. I'm going to take Nico in this one, as it's actually Maxim Butorin who beats, what rank was he? The number 4 welterweight in the world. That's incredible. Butorin was number 12 himself, so he's definitely jumping into the top 10, and I'd imagine he wants a top 5 opponent immediately. That's great for Butorin. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next for Maxim Butorin, as he said he wants to fight against GSP. That's great. So Butorin wants GSP. As we move into our main event of the evening, it's Claudia Gadelha taking on Tina LAHDEMAKI. LAHDEMAKI signed up for this fight because I think there was a pullout. I think there was an injury that happened, and LAHDEMAKI was simply available. So she signed up. She's coming off 2 straight wins. So, I mean, good for her. But it's going to be a huge task against Claudia Gadelha, who is a former champion in this save. Just recently lost her title, in fact, to Janessa Mirandin. Before that, beat Rose, Livia Souza, Joanna, and Rose again, Juliana Lima. So, I mean, it's a big ask to take on Claudia Gadelha in the main event. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer here. It's the main event of this UFC Fight Night. I'm going to take Gadelha in this one. I don't think LAHDEMAKI is going to have very much of a chance, but we'll go ahead and see here as we're into the first round. So once again, thank you guys for watching this video with me. I know you guys wanted a little bit more, and I'm glad I could bring some more to you guys. So I'm going to try to, post a little bit more often than I have been. I know you guys like watching these videos. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the videos, and if you want to see more, a big cut, as LAHDEMAKI actually has cut Gadelha. So very interesting, as Tina might have taken the first round here. Gadelha looking to use her wrestling. Gadelha with the takedown, holding her down. But the first round apparently is going to go to LAHDEMAKI. That's interesting. So now Gadelha seemingly working with a disadvantage here, down by a round. Gadelha looking for the takedown. She's going to get it. Probably look to set up a submission here really quickly. And I just love this, game engine. It sucks you can't really watch the fights, like UFC 3 or anything like that. You can always do event mode or something like that if you really wanted to. As she pops free from a Kimura. Good job by LAHDEMAKI to get out of that. Another Kimura attempt. And finally, Claudia Gadelha is able to get the submission win in round 2 via Kimura. So LAHDEMAKI came out strong in the first round, and you really would expect that from someone who's a heavy underdog. Just go balls to the wall, just try to get it. But Gadelha too much, and the first fight for her outside of her title reign is a victory. So Gadelha victorious there. 3,818 in Quebec showed up to watch this fight night, and that is going to do it here for this video. I have been AZPlow21. Thank you for joining me on this, what I'd imagine is about an hour and a half long video of me just playing the game and going through the inner workings of it with you guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and simulate forward and see what our next fight night is going to be, as we hand out the Fight of the Night award. Goes to, LAHDEMAKI and Gadelha. Knockout of the night goes to Jordan Main. Submission of the night goes to Majima. So good for those guys. They're all going to win $50,000, as Dana White will always famously say. So let's take a look at what the next fight night is going to be. Again, let me know down in the comments any questions you might have, or just what you guys are thinking overall of the save. If you guys have any questions or any comments, be free to let me know. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at AZPlow21 if you really want to. Don't really post much on there, but that is a way you guys can reach me if you want to ask me some questions, like directly about the game or anything like that. So feel free to hit me up on there as well. But let's take a look at what we have going next for you guys here. I know there's some of you that really look forward to this, because there's not a lot of WMMA 5 content going on out there on YouTube, so I'm glad I could bring it for you. But yeah, the reason I did this video really is because of Michael Chandler in the beginning of the video popping for TRT, so you can thank him for that. I'm kind of scared as to what I should title this video, just because I don't want to piss off Michael Chandler by insinuating that he does drugs or anything. So I'll probably just name it like Champion Suspended or something like that. Little bit of a clickbait title, but I mean, we can all use some views on this video. Getting done with the processing and stuff, of course, a lot of stuff that needs to be run through. I like these little random profiles that they give you over fighters and whatnot. Look at the fucking smile on that guy, Sergey Spivak. I'm pretty sure I've actually signed him at some point in this save. But yeah, just a lot of stuff going on in the world of MMA, and I'll be here to talk about it with you guys in the middle of these videos as well. Oh boy, just getting out of fight night's kind of a drag. I thought this was going to be kind of a quick ending to this video, but it looks like it's not going to be. But yeah, let's see what we've got going on for us next. All the hirings and stuff. I'd imagine that's because people are signing their contracts with me as... Oh shit, that's right. So next time I join you guys, it'll be for another video, and that's because we have another fight night the very next night, as we have McDonald versus Garbrandt, the night after the last fight night we just had. Literally, Michael McDonald taking on Cody Garbrandt the Sunday after the Saturday of that last fight night. I'm pretty dumb sometimes, and I do things like that, where I schedule 2 fight nights in consecutive nights, and this is apparently one of those times. So, this was a very long video, but next time I see you, it'll be a very short video. You know, a little bit of both worlds there, but get out those videos quickly for you guys so you guys can enjoy them with ease. So this has been AZPlow21. Please join me next time for what I think is episode 12 of this WMMA 5 save, McDonald versus Garbrandt. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.